Good day, everyone. My name is Dan Lebert. I'm the CEO of Nelba. Thank you for joining Take 5. This is a great opportunity where we hear from industry voices, leaders in the industry, people who have impact on the industry for just a few minutes, a few questions to get a great update on the direction of them, their company, and how that impacts independent distribution. Joining me today is Matt Berman. Matt's the Chief Distribution Officer of Foresters Financial. No stranger to Nelba. He mentioned offline that he's been coming to Nelba annual meetings for about the last 15 years. He's been with AXA, AIG, Zurich, big supporter of Nelba. And Matt, thank you for joining us, and thank you for the support of Foresters.
Great to be here, Dan.
Well, Take 5. We want to keep this short. I mean, we're exciting, but we're not that exciting. We want to give independent distribution, the 300,000 plus advisors that follow Nelba, the 1,400 BGAs. A great update from the direction of Foresters, and to kick that off, just some market observations in a new COVID world. If you want to tackle that question first.
Yeah, sure. It's been, to say the least, an unprecedented environment, and what I think we're seeing are a couple of things. One, there's certainly been a spotlight on mortality and protection needs around pending mortality, given the onslaught of the pandemic. I think there's also been a new set of interconnected challenges that have occurred because of the pandemic and now living in a hyper low interest rate environment. And I think that environment has put an undue set of pressure on a lot of insurance companies out there. I think it's safe to say all life insurance companies have been experiencing a gradual decrease and a general low interest rate environment. But since the pandemic, now we're in a hyper low interest rate environment, nearing almost negative territory. And that presents a new set of challenges regarding the ability to support product, the product shelf that's offered to advisors, and obviously consumer base. And I think what you're seeing as well, just recently in the press, is not only is this impacting the ability to support or manufacture product, which has an interest rate component, but it's impacting businesses as well. And unfortunately, what you're seeing is layoffs. You're seeing businesses pivot away from the traditional life insurance space, and it's been pretty challenging to see how this industry is handling it. The other big observation is what social distancing has meant for the advisor connecting with prospects, connecting with their clients, and the new set of requirements to enable advisors to engage with their client base, and what insurance companies have had to do to meet those needs, whether it's focusing more on accelerated underwriting, focusing more on the tools to engage in a non-face-to-face world. It's been a very, very unique circumstances that I think is impacting how the consumer looks at protection, taking care of their families, and the ability of the life insurance companies to meet that growing demand.
Matt, you mentioned sort of what I phrase now as the pandemic pivot, right? That's what we're all going through, and the challenges for US based advisors. There's some great stories that are coming out with just the spirit of entrepreneurialism, the use of technology. Yep. 70,000 plus baby boomers in the U.S. now leveraging technology like never before. But let's just dive a little bit further past what you are seeing, what this means for the independent advisor. Are many responding to the challenge and carving out a virtual environment? Do you see some advisors needing a bit more help on the marketing materials, or just candidly how to maneuver? What's this meant for the U.S. independent advisor?
Yeah, I think you framed the question well, and I think the short answer is all the above.
Mhm.
And what's unique about the world in the market in which Foresters plays, um, we're not necessarily focused on the traditional marketplace where a lot of NALBA carriers have been focused on.
Mhm.
We see the middle market, and it's slightly different in terms of uh, the distribution partners that we engage. But the spirit of our worlds are very similar. But um, what we do day to day in our world, we will underwrite business predominantly on a non-medical basis,
Mhm.
which simply means we don't require blood or fluid to underwrite the business. Our products are simple by design and they're transactional by nature. And in many respects, this environment or the paradigm of promoting and underwriting life insurance in this space was almost designed for a world where social distancing is mandatory,
Mhm.
where you don't necessarily need paramedical resources uh, intermediated to execute the transaction. And so for advisors that have relied more on traditional underwriting, fully underwritten products,
Mhm.
we have seen a pivot to a market where, okay, I'm not as reliant on these face-to-face resources. And so that probably speaks to your question or to your point on maneuverability.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, agents are incredibly smart, they're resourceful, and they're extremely competitive, and they certainly want to take care of their customer needs. So, in this world where products are challenged, our ability to engage on a face to face basis is challenged. We are seeing more inquiries and more interest in what we do day to day.
Mhm.
So, looking at a suite of non medically underwritten products, products that can be promoted, that can be applied for in a non face to face world, that are e-app enabled, fully digitized. Those are the new set of demands. They've been evolving over time, but the pandemic has put a big spotlight on it and created an urgency to support the independent advisor to make sure that uh, that client base, prospects, individuals can be taken care of.
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't reference your point of the need to engage, hence Nelba Engage, the rebranded annual meeting. It's a perfect name for how we're going into 2021. Take us inside the walls of Forrester's Financial.
Yeah,
A lot of challenges, a lot of great stories coming out about the insurance industry. Life insurance, it's not a difficult product to sell, but we make it difficult, right?
yeah,
But so many carriers have pivoted so well with making some changes around underwriting, e-applications,
yeah,
just a bit more automation, leveraging technology finally. And I say this tongue in cheek, completely tongue in cheek, but it takes a pandemic for the insurance industry to embrace technology at the
yeah.
forefront as compared to being a few years behind. So take us inside the walls of Foresters. How have you addressed a lot of the challenges and opportunities? Well, actually break that down into two questions. How have you addressed and what have you seen as the challenges and how have you addressed them? And then what opportunities have you seen come from this as a way to do business moving forward?
Yeah. So I appreciate the question. Uh, one of the things that attracted me to this business is the fact that Foresters is unique by structure and design. So we're what you call a fraternal life insurance company. And what that means, because it's probably not as well known as the more traditional models, which would be a stock based company or a
Sure.
mutual. We look more like a mutual. Economically, our policyholders, or as we would term those individuals, our members, are the owners of the business, similar to a mutual. but we are purpose driven. We're motivated by a certain mission. Our competitors may be driven to support certain religious affiliations.
Okay.
We're secular and broad by design. Our mission is to support the well-being of middle market families and their communities. And as I started to do my homework on this business, I found it to be an attractive model for a couple of reasons. One, we know that the middle market is dramatically or underinsured, and supporting that space, I think, is extremely important because at the end of the day, we provide as insurance executives a social benefit. But being a fraternal and supporting our members through member benefits. And in other words, we take a portion of our earnings and bring it back to our members. That could be in the form of grants or scholarships. Um, and what we see today is that, again, the pandemic, on top of spotlighting mortality, there is an increased sense of awareness around wellness. And I firmly believe that coming out of this pandemic, life insurance companies will have to do more than just offer a promise, a long duration promise. Life
It's
insurance companies,
all increasing the value prop, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's,
that's exactly right.
yeah, yeah.
We have to offer something while you're living. And Foresters, by being a fraternal, focusing on well-being, and providing member benefits, does that every day. And what we're looking to do is innovate around these concepts.
Mhm.
So outside of providing simple protection products where they are transactional by nature, they're simple again by design. We're overlaying that with benefits that support preventive action, support wellness. And we'll be releasing a number of new initiatives. But to give you an example, in 2019, we broadened our underwriting guidelines around type 2 diabetes. We are offering in the fourth quarter with a partnership with Roche, a global healthcare company,
Yeah.
diabetes management member benefits for all of our policyholders.
That's great.
And these are ways where I think we can innovate, support, support what I think is a very noble purpose of the life insurance space in unique ways. Because again, outside of all of these requirements to have non-face-to-face engagement,
Mhm.
the business is going to need to innovate. It's going to need to demonstrate its value in more ways than a balance sheet. We have to support our customers and our advisors for all of those everyday needs. And again, the pandemic has simply underscored that we need to do this and we need to do it urgently.
I think people are going to get sick of hearing me say this, but when I first came into Nelba, and I would go to every different, meeting, IMO meeting, carrier meeting, anywhere I could be visible and absorb as much as possible, it was trendy to innovate. Now it's innovate to survive.
Yeah,
Huge difference.
very true. Very true.
So what's the future then for foresters? I mean, you talked about increasing the value prop. It's member driven,
Yep.
member benefit. I mean, this speaks to the heart of many association models, and of course, that model has been around for years, and we've seen loyalty remain to a membership driven model where the member benefit continues to increase or refresh every year. So
Yep.
can you let us in on maybe a
Sure.
couple ideas for the future for foresters?
Yeah, we've spent the past couple of years transforming our North American business.
Mhm.
We sold our asset management business in the US and Canada. We
Mhm.
sold our broker dealer and the captive sales force associated with that broker dealer. We most recently sold our New York based variable life and annuity business,
Mhm.
all to effectively declare our major. We are focused exclusively on underwriting mortality through fixed life insurance. And we believe we have a competitive advantage. We believe that the company is well capitalized to stay in this space for the long term.
Mm.
And, you know, we will continue to build simple transactional products that support the middle market space, those individuals and those families.
Yeah.
And where you will see more innovation, where you will see um, investments on our end, is to try to converge our product set that we deliver through our agents, through our independent advisors,
Mhm.
with the member benefits that we offer. So, as I mentioned, the diabetes suite
Yeah.
of member benefits, our focus in that particular space, we know is important. We know that individuals living with diabetes, that number is increasing with every passing year. But
Yeah.
we also know that individuals that are taking care of themselves can enjoy life expectancy as longer than individuals that are not living with diabetes.
All right, Matt. Well, I'm going to push you a little bit on that one because I want to know, are there incentives or at least discussion for people who are living with diabetes who improve their overall health and wellness as it relates to, their product with you?
Yeah. So you're zoning in on something where is an aspirational goal for our business. Again, there is a market, there is a need, and we believe that those individuals do not need to pay what I would call premiums that are punitive. That if individuals can demonstrate that, hey, A1Cs, build levels are consistently strong, consistently positive, that the underwriting model can be a bit more dynamic. It does not have to be underwritten once and done,
Yeah.
but if we can establish more of a dynamic paradigm for individuals, let's say living with type 2 diabetes,
Mhm.
maybe we can offer a more on balance product. And our business is uniquely suited to invest in that space and to support those individuals. Again, we're a business that is focused on the well-being of middle market families and their communities. We know from the clinical research that life expectancy can be on par with the right treatment.
Yeah.
We also know that technology can be a good conduit to get this information.
Yes.
And so we've made the investments to support what we believe is a growing need in North America, in the US. And as an organization that's focused on well being, and as we get into an environment that's been highlighted by the pandemic of
Mhm.
wellness, staying on top of your wellness, these are areas where I think we can be a bit differentiated, where we can be very supportive of this growing issue, and it aligns with our values. And
Mhm.
I think again, it promotes a social good. You know, just in terms of expanding the base of insureds. We know there's a big population of and underinsured individuals out there. And
Yeah.
there may be individuals who are living with diabetes who feel like they would not be eligible for life insurance. Well,
Right.
let's break that paradigm. Let's be there for those consumers and the advisors that want to support them.
Well, two words come to mind: leadership and responsibility. And it sounds like Forrester's taking the exact road that it needs to do to address and bridge that gap. That is the middle market. That does have the underinsured. All right, I'm going to hit you with one more question. It's not scripted. I
All right.
promise compliance will not get mad. I promise. You're no stranger to the industry. You've been with a lot of top companies, now with Forrester's. You mentioned to me that you've been coming to Nelba for a long time.
Yeah.
Why? Why? What? I love to talk with people who say, "Hey, Dan, great to meet you. I've been coming to Nelba for a long time." And my first question is always, well, my response is always, "Thank you." But my second is, why? What is that value prop that you see at Nelba that you made the decision to have Foresters present with us?
I think it's twofold.
Mm-hmm.
I think one, NALBA is the epicenter of the momentum, the innovation, the progress of this industry. The lion's share of the life insurance marketplace in the US is supported by the independent advisor.
Yeah.
That independent advisor has a broad view of the marketplace. And the forum that NALBA provides to engage with the BGAs, to hear the word on the street, to connect with my peers, that forum, to have that exchange, is invaluable. And the timing is always perfect because you're embarking on a new year, and it's good to hear how things have culminated over the past months. And the other, the other reason is it's a great place to see your friends. I've been in this industry for quite some time. And the distribution partners, my peer group at competitors, we've worked together for quite some time, and in many ways the industry is somewhat small. It becomes somewhat of a small town.
It does.
When you get to know, and you've been in the business for a certain amount of time. And I've always seen NALBA as somewhat of a festive environment. You're coming up
it's
to the
festive.
holidays.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I've always enjoyed.
I think we'd be festive in March, just saying. It doesn't matter if it's the holidays are coming or not.
I agree. Listen, when you get those folks together, I think, again, it's the right exchange of ideas. It's always positive. And I've always looked on my experiences with the association very fondly.
Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate hearing that. And we're going to continue to try and deliver as much value as possible to all of independent distribution, not just life, but there's so much more out there between the advisor, the BGAs, the way BGAs are evolving. I think we're hard pressed to find a traditional BGA in at least the way when the original bylaws were set up nowadays. It's a moving target. So, Matt, I want to thank you and Foresters for your continued support of NALBA. Thank you for giving us a look on the current status of Foresters and the future. And I look forward to reconnecting with you again soon to hear about those updates.
Great. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for joining NALBA Engage Take 5, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Sounds great. Be well.